Ladies and gentlemen, I have returned to the airways. Welcome to episode number 65 on Technically Speaking Live. So yes, round of applause for all of us. I'm actually hoping that this live stream thing kicks in. I'm trying to see if it actually kicked in. So don't mind me. I'm just going to kind of like hit the play button and see if I actually caught up. Oh, look at that. I actually showed up. So welcome to another live show, Technically Speaking, episode number 65. Now, I'll tell you, how did I get to episode 65? If you know Greg and I from way back in the day, we did live shows the first iteration. I think we did about 37 episodes or something like that. 20-some episodes. My math is not great, but that's not the point. The point is we did a whole boatload, and then we stopped doing live shows because we had this crazy theory that maybe, just maybe, they were affecting the growth of the channel. Long story short, comes to find out that, it actually doesn't have as big of an impact as you seem to think that it does. So then we restarted the live shows again and then went several episodes, and then last April happened. That fast forwards to today. Today is episode number 65. I have been in front of all of you 65 times, and yet you still keep coming back. So in today's show, I obviously want to kind of talk about what's happened over the past several months. I have dual laptops in front of me. I have things I want to talk about from CES. I reached out to some folks on Twitter and said, hey, what do you want to talk about? And specifically, I'm going to address those particular things. But if you do have things that you want to talk about, first, if you have my phone number, don't text me. Just leave it in the channel somewhere. The easiest way for me to see the comment is a super chat. I'm not asking for money, but that's true. So if there's a whole slew of comments, there's a way I can get to it. I'm going to talk about all the stuff that's happened. Talk about how data privacy is for cool kids, and I love that. I'm going to talk about CES and then a whole bunch of stuff on foldable phones. I'm going to try to stick to an hour, but I like to listen to myself talk. So that's going to be tough. So I want to go out and see the comments really quick, see hello, see what's out there. Larry, welcome back, my friend. Dan and Jason, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a long time since I've seen you. Waiting for your son to go to bed. School does, in fact, come early. Fun story about kids, and I'll tell you that here in a moment. Miss Kathleen, thank you very much, as always. Mr. E-Root, if the folks in the chat, Mr. E-Root, right now, if you go out there, M-R-E-R-O-O-T, he has a channel. He started his Creating a Creator Challenge. Go out there, check it out. He's getting really good in front of the camera. He's got some tips and tricks and different things he's working on. Go out and check his channel. Dan, Top Gun 2. I haven't even seen Top Gun 1. True story, I'm still never going to see Top Gun. At this point, I'm just not going to do it because, mostly because I'm a jerk. I said what I said. I meant it. Kathleen, you're at a hard stop at an hour. I'm hoping that I have the same. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. of A. in Ohio. So we'll see what gets into it. And Andrew, thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's nice to be back. It's interesting. When we first left off, obviously we know what happened with Greg, and I wasn't sure what was really going to happen with the live show. You guys saw my last episode, what it was, kind of a tribute to Greg. That was the thing, and I truly meant that when I said, I'm not sure what's going to happen to the live show. I started to watch all of these other creators developing these live shows, Viper Live and things of that nature. Another good friend of mine on Twitter, Tech King Mike, he has this great show that's out there, Friday Night Tech Fights. I've had the ability to be a part of it. It's just a fantastic idea. I loved it, and then I got the itch. And I wanted to go back and maybe think about doing live streaming and things like that. So it was super interesting to be on that. Another friend of mine, we've been on live shows before, game shows and things of that nature. Totally, totally fun. Yeah, oh my gosh. The Everyday Dad, again, thank you so much, The Everyday Dad. I had a chance to meet the Everyday Dad and the Everyday Wife, and they are fantastic people. I met the Everyday Kid as well, and also, yeah, they're just good people. I'm gonna hit the chat up. Pumped to be back. Thanks, Jacob, so much. And not friends now, but no Top Gun in your future. Great, Miss Sheila. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I'm out of shape in terms of what a live show. Well, I'm out of shape just totally anyway, but I'm out of shape with what my live show chops are. So I'm gonna be all over the place. I have some really cool stuff that I want to share. What's happened over the last 6, 7, 8 months. Um, it's all centered around Greg. So sit back, relax. We're gonna talk about it in a second, and then I'm gonna come back to the comments. I have had a chance to give talks to a major Fortune 100 company about positivity and kindness. And a lot of this started to stem, obviously, what happened from Greg. It was hard, but I now have the ability to I look at life a lot differently than I did before. But I have this really big message, really focus on mental health, big focus on positivity and kindness. Look, we all are going through a lot of stuff. The world is hard. It is crazy. Um, let's lift each other up. Like it's hard. We don't know what you're going through. So positivity, kindness goes a long way. So with that being said, I've had a chance to go out and make these talks, and it's been super impactful, and I absolutely love it. And nothing more can be said than if you go out and look at the GoFundMe page that was made for Melissa and her kids. Just a tremendous outpouring of support from people who didn't even know them. People just knew Greg just by what he's done online. But just an absolutely outpouring, and I loved it. And it's just amazing. It gave me hope in the world again, which was a lot of fun. Greg was a beer drinker. Everybody knows if you watch the live show, he was a beer drinker. Land Grant, the beer company here in Columbus, made his favorite beer, which was Land Grant Greenskeeper, and then they put hashtag Team Greg at the bottom of the can. So everybody in kind of the Midwest, at some point, if you were drinking a Land Grant and it happened to be a Greenskeeper, there's a pretty good chance you had one with Team Greg at the bottom. So that was pretty tremendous. But the biggest thing, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now from Homage, but Homage, the t-shirt company, they reached out to us really in November, and we had a chance to go out, and they wanted to pay, pardon the pun, homage to Greg by bringing back one of the shirts that Greg wore all the time. And if you go to homage.com, and I'll put this in the chat really quick, homage, I'm not a good typer.com/Greg. If you go out there and check that out, 100% of the proceeds from the sale of that shirt from Homage, not something we reached out to them to do, they reached out to us. It was just incredible, and we loved it. It was hard, but we had always joked around like we should just get like a big commune and just live together because that's the easiest way to do things. Obviously, crazy idea. The old adage goes, it takes a village to raise a family and raise kids. It really kind of stood true. And then all of a sudden, with all of this going on, we happened to find a house. And December 7th, my wife and our 3, and Melissa and her 4, all moved into a home. So I currently live with effectively 2 wives and 7 children and 3 dogs. Yep. I'll wait. I'm gonna let that simmer all up in your brain meats. 7 kids. Now, if I'm doing the math, I think it goes 10, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3. Let's see, 10, 8. See, look at this. 10, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, and just a little bit shy of a year. I'm pretty sure about that. They're all under the age of 10, 10 and under. That much I for sure know. It definitely will keep me young. It definitely keeps me on my toes. And there's somebody that might actually even be in this particular chat has said that I am on my way to sainthood. Now, I agree. I think I'd be a dynamite saint. I think I'd bring a flavor of sainthood that's probably not hit the church. I don't think I really fit the bill, but I'm totally down. Just saying, where's my application? I'll do it. I'll hit it. I will do it. So yeah, all of that, you just got like the quick 10-minute synopsis of everything that has been going on in the past 8 months or so. It is crazy. It is as chaotic as you would expect. It is awesome. We celebrated Christmas together. We celebrated New Year's together. So think of Christmas time when the everyday dad, Gary. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. I have drank a lot more coffee than I normally do. Good chance Melissa and I will go through a pot of coffee a day. I walk out with a Yeti full before I even like think about stepping into the car. So, going back to my Christmas thing, if think about when you put a GoPro outside and you want to do a time lapse of snow falling and it goes way up and then way down. Same concept applies for wrapping paper. I, of course, in true fashion, did a time lapse of what it was like when all the kids were opening presents on Christmas Day, and it's like wrapping paper, and then the three of us, like my wife and Melissa and I, just cleaned it all up, and yeah, it was really crazy. It was as cool as you would expect. Chaos, of course, but yeah, it was really, really interesting. Yeah, so again, that's kind of what's happening over the several. I should get Tim Hortons as a sponsor. True story. That man that just left that comment right there single-handedly kept me going when I broke my back. Dan, oh yeah, I forgot about the back breaking thing. I guess that's a thing I should probably talk about. I broke my back the last couple days in October. So that was the thing. I feel like why all this stuff happened this year? What is like a crazy 2019? It was awful 2019, but yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I broke my back riding a mule. I say a horse because it's less weird, but if I say a mule, everybody's like, why were you on a mule? The idea was father and son weekend with my son. He's 8. Dan, you did curse me. That Saturday morning, I got on a mule. She says, hey, throw your right leg over, put it in the stirrup. Don't put your left leg on. Now, this mule was huge. He was at least, I mean, it's kind of folklore at this point. He was probably like 11 feet tall at his back, 13 feet tall at his head. I'm guesstimating on that. So I got up on this step. I threw my leg over. She said, don't put your leg over in the left stirrup. Hold on to the saddle horn. I'm going to measure the reins of evidently the biggest mule ever made in the history of the world. She's measuring it, and like the mule, Ernie was his name, he jumped up, and I was like, oh God. And then he just took off. Now, according to my son, I lasted 3 jumps. 3 jumps is approximately 11 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that I'm a bull rider at this point because he was huge like a bull. He was at least 15 foot tall. And the idea is like, so I fell off, or I got bucked off the left side, landed right on my back, broke my back, 2 places. I'm good. I walk, all of those things. I'm definitely not riding another 18-foot mule, but the idea is that was a crazy, crazy, crazy month right there. I was able to walk the whole time, just really uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. So I was in bed for a while on that, but yeah, I have made it through. I've got through it. Thank you, Miss Sheila. I appreciate it. I did break my back. I do know there's a difference between a mule and a horse. The mule that I was on was 21 foot tall, so a lot bigger than a regular horse. Horse or mules are used for things like trips to Everest. I think Ernie had done a couple, probably. I'm guessing. Folklore. It is what it is. Yeah, 20 feet sounds right. We'll go with that. All right, let's talk about some of the different tech stuff that we have going on. It has been a crazy week. Mr. Daniel, thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. Big shout out to Daniel right there for the super chat. Mr. Daniel is actually in Australia. He is watching this show at 11:15 from the future tomorrow. Very clearly, that man is from a movie. I'm just saying it. He looks like Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt. Super, super good looking guy. I'm just saying. Just throwing it out there. This was a big week. This week was CES and also how data privacy was cool. And then at CES, and I say data privacy because Apple went to CES for the first time in 28 years. I could probably say they showed up for the first time in 28 years to show off some crazy tech, but that was not the case. What actually happened was Apple showed up to talk about data privacy. They a lot of times tout that data privacy is incredibly important to them. And I get that. CES just happened to be a thing. There was no tech that they wanted to release. But probably the biggest reason why they wanted to talk about tech was specifically related to a law here in the US, specifically in California, that went live January 1st, just a few days ago, 2020. That law was related to the California Consumer Privacy Act. We have talked about that on this channel in the past. Specifically, there's 4 things that that law is really looking for. Now, it says California, but I will say that from everything that I've read, Apple said it, Amazon saying it, Google saying it, a lot of these big tech companies are saying it. They're effectively saying that it's for all of the US anyway. So think of the California Consumer Privacy Act as basically very similar to car emissions that you see here in the US. Typically, the car manufacturers will just manufacture a car to the specs of California simply because they're more stringent than the United States and they want to sell, obviously, to California because there's a tremendous amount of people there. So if they just meet the specs of California, they will clearly meet the specs of all of the United States. So think of the same thing there as it relates to the California consumer privacy. But again, 4 things that they're specifically looking for is basically, a company in California, if you do business in California, what do you know about me? 2, who do you share it with or what do you do with it? 3, what's the purpose of you having that data? And then 4, ultimately saying that I don't want you to have my data, so I'm going to need you to delete that. Now, all 4 of those things need to happen in approximately 30 days or so. So, yeah, that is a very difficult thing to do. And my guess is that's probably why Apple showed up at CES for the first time in 28 years. So I'm drinking a Diet Mountain Dew. I don't drink beer like Greg did, but I'm drinking a Diet Mountain Dew because there's 7 kids running throughout the house. Not currently, they're actually in bed, but yeah. So that's my guess why Apple showed up at CES. That's literally the only thing I could think of, and the one piece of data privacy that I want to talk about. And Kathleen, to your point, so is it effectively GDPR but for the US? Kinda. It's mostly like GDPR. So when you do a comparison of CCPA versus GDPR, there's some things that GDPR is way more stringent on that CPP or CCPA isn't, and vice versa. They took a lot of the same type of legislation and writing of the law that they did in the Europe or the UK when it comes to GDPR, but not exactly one for one. But they are a lot alike when it comes to those types of things. I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see other states like New York or Massachusetts or Illinois kind of come up with their own. Data privacy is going to be huge in 2020. We're going into, and we're not going to get into this, we have a steadfast rule, we don't talk about it. We're going into something that happens in November of 2020 of this year, and a lot of big major social networks are changing the way they're doing some type of news. So that being said, I think you're going to see a rededication to data privacy and data as a whole, which is cool because I look at data privacy as a basic human right. That's something that I personally believe. We live in a world where it's super difficult. Like I have information that's out online that I didn't want to put there. If you go out and Google your own name, you might show up at things like Spokeo or White Pages or things of that nature, and it is a tremendously difficult process to get your name removed from those places, even though you didn't specifically want to do that. Another perfect example is I purchased a home, and my name is obviously on the deed, so that shows up in public records, which if you know, you can do some egregious things where you can actually physically see my home by just having my name and roundabouts where I live. It's super interesting. Data privacy is going to really evolve in the next few years, and I'm excited for it because I think it's a basic human right. I learn more from this channel than I do my tech job sometimes. Definitely ping me on the side because I can tell you probably a lot more than I'm even doing here. Jason, do you think data privacy could lead to companies moving out of the US? No, because a lot of time what you're going to see is those companies, if they just conduct business in the US, not actually physically located, the conducting business part is really the more important part. So, yeah, I don't envision a company going, you know what, I don't want to do business in or with anybody in the US. They're just going to kind of have to confirm with those laws. It's the same way with a company here that you can be headquarters, let's say Ohio or California or Texas, and conduct business in the UK, you still have to adhere to the things of GDPR, even though you don't physically locate yourself there as a business. So, um, yeah, Dan, you can get so much information. It's honestly it's super sketchy and super scary. The idea of the information that you can find on somebody by just having their name and just the state they live in. And you can, I mean, there's only 50 states, so you can take just a wild guess and go straight down the list if you really want to do that. Oof, that's yucky. Um, Leave a comment below and tell me what the audio sounds like and if the video quality is good. This is a crazy setup that I have going on. I have an LED light right here and a big light right here, and I'm trying to figure out if this is where I want to film. So let me know what you guys think here, specifically about if this is a good place to film. Ollie, you can recycle your old smartphones. There are places that you can go to stores and do that. Okay, so that was a lot of talk. I'm already 23 minutes deep in a live show. I'm not actually sure what I said. Yeah, I don't know. So we'll get there. CES, that is something. Video good volume turned to 30 on my TV to hear you. Okay, I duly noted. I actually have the. We all know that I'm loud. I have my audio turned down to -10 decibels on the actual computer and -12 on the microphone itself, mostly because I'm extremely loud. Yep. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the comments about everything that looks. I'm using a 35 millimeter, like $70 Yocno lens and my Canon T7i, and yeah. No, I have the volume turned way down specifically because I'm just a loud human being. But I will rectify that next week and make sure that it's turned way up. And CES, big week. CES is every single January, typically in the first or second week. Well, I think we're in the second week at this point. So the 7th through the 10th is CES. I got a lot of friends out there from YouTube that are out there. Go out and check out Kevin the Tech Ninja. You can find him on Twitter. You can find Josh Smith at Gotta Be Mobile. I do believe that the Everyday Dad went there the year before. There's a ton of great people out there right now doing a lot of really cool, interesting stuff. Super jealous of the fact that a lot of them went out, and if they attended, I think, the Ring party, Ring being like the doorbell ring, Shaq was there, and I love Shaq. I've seen so many pictures of like YouTubers with Shaq, and I just want to meet the man. I love Shaquille O'Neal. Anyway, total side note on that. One of the most interesting things that I found at CES right off the bat was something that I think is a fantastic idea. Kohler, the people who make like shower heads and like faucets and things like that, those people, Kohler. So go with me on this. They have an Amazon Alexa shower head. So effectively what it is, it's a big shower head with an Amazon Alexa right dead in the middle. And I love that. So Google, if you're listening, make a waterproof mini, battery powered. Thank you.
Physically trigger me. You can control what audio data is stored and retained in voice and audio activity.
Yep.
To view your audio
Great.
activity.
Super helpful. Love it when it just pops up. So, hey, keyword evidently I triggered. That company that is a big search company, if you make a mini version of the thing that's behind me, put it in a shower head because I absolutely love the idea of it. I listen to podcasts. If you are into comedians at all, I listen to Two Bears, One Cave with Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. and I will listen to that in the shower. So I don't know if I should admit that. I'm listening to two dudes talk in the shower, and it's titled Two Bears, One Cave. But that's not the point. The point is, I love their podcast, and I will put on like a waterproof speaker inside the shower to listen to that podcast. I love the idea. I absolutely love it. So, if Big G, if you're listening, make that. But anyway, Kohler made one. It's an Amazon Alexa powered shower head. If you go out there and just Google Kohler showerhead smart speaker, you're going to find it. It is awesome. I absolutely love it. Evidently, this year is the whole year to fold all the things at CES. So I have things that are foldable, things that are rollable, things that are, again, bigger like a phone or bigger like a PC or a tablet, and things that are smaller like a phone of some sort. So the first thing that I saw was there's evidently a horseshoe bendable foldable PC concept that you can go out there. So I was out at the Verge the other day and I was looking. It is a 17-inch OLED monster display. Now that is one. This particular prototype is called the Horseshoe Bend, and I'm looking right at one of the websites here. Lenovo announced the ThinkPad X1. It's the 13-inch PC, but this one is a 17-inch diagonal when it's unfolded. And there's this one image, like, so think of your laptops in front of you, and you can basically kind of touch the screen and go from what the laptop screen would be to where your keyboard is. You can touch and go down, and then that whole thing bends and folds down with you. It is a super dope looking thing, but I think, and I'm going to go on record, big, hairy, audacious statement, I just don't see how foldables are going to stick. I don't see it. I guess I could say the same thing like way back in the day. Like everybody was like, I don't see how I could get rid of a physical keyboard on my BlackBerry. And now look where we are. So I'm going to make this big crazy statement that I think foldable anything leads itself to just break more. Like I'm going to get dust like underneath the hinge. That's going to affect the little tiny this, that, and the other. I was like, I don't see it. I have heard if you have a Galaxy Fold in your hand, you fall in love with it. Everybody who has one loves it. Caveat with that is Samsung lies about their numbers. Big shocker there. Oh, we sold 1 million. Oh, no, we really only sold 400,000. Yeah, cool story, Samsung. But the idea is like, I'm not sure. I don't know where it fits. I've said before in the past that I think a foldable tablet fits better than a foldable phone. Like I think the idea of a foldable phone is, like I like the form factor that a phone that I have now, but a foldable tablet, think about like a Chromebook Pixel, like the Pixel that's out here like I'm looking at right now. I absolutely love. Completely folds over with the keyboard and all that jazz. Now imagine that one piece. Cool, but I don't personally see it. I think foldable phones are more of a gimmick. I think the big thing, if a manufacturer really wants to hit a home run on what the next big thing is, and I said this on Tech Mike's Friday Night Tech Fights, is battery life. You nail battery life, like you can have the ugliest device in the history of the world. You nail battery life and you give me the best like pictures, like the pixel level, Google Pixel level pictures. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with your device because I want that battery life. I feel like that's the next big thing when it comes to tech. It's not foldables. What is that? Foldables. It's more along the lines of the battery life. So, Michael Daniel, thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you very much. The show next Wednesday. I don't know. I might be prepping for the show like this next Wednesday. So we'll talk about that kind of at the very end of everything. So again, that's the big horseshoe foldable PC. Now they have this big rollable one from LG. Now I saw this one wall. So I think having a rollable TV makes way more sense than having a foldable device in my pocket. And here's why I'll say that is I can roll it and unroll it, but I'm not going to touch it. Like I'm not going to put pocket lint in there and potentially break it. But then again, by that same logic, I could see how you could I can see how you would get dust from like not dusting it. So I suppose I could see talking out of my mouth the same way, but LG has a roll-up TV that is enormous. It's a 65. Wait, no, that's not right. Is it 65 inches? Pause. That's what she said. 65-inch 4K OLED TV, supposed to ship second or third quarter of 2020. Now, it's $60,000. This rollable television is $60,000. But how cool would it be to give a voice command to like maybe Alexa or Big G and say, roll my TV away. I'm done with you. Go away. I would like to get to my slumber. That would be dope. I don't know if it's $60,000 dope, but it is super dope. Ah, my man, Big Kev. I just watched your video today on the sour thing. I was really super interested to know if those berries actually made a difference, not a distance. What was that? Skippable, obviously, if you guys don't know this, huge fan of the show. Kev, I absolutely love you, brother. Thank you so much. I will keep on keeping on. Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, wow, that was a cool video today. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. Back to the rolling TV. I don't think $60,000 is really worth it personally. They said that they tested it for 50,000 rolls, although I'm not really sure why you would do 50,000 rolls. If somebody wants to do the math for me, 50,000 rolls, that means if I do it twice a day, that's 25,000 rolls. 25. So if I do that twice a day, so that's I'm gonna screw this up. That's 14 times a week. No, is that right? 14 times a week, 28, 14, 28, 28, 28. It's, okay, that's a lot. Like, it's a little over 50. Okay, so the miracle, again, I'm going to pause the TV thing. Going back to Kev, I wondered if the miracle berries definitely helped. I'm going to see if I can pull up the video that Kev is talking about. I purged some of his videos. I still say to this very day that the lemon video is by far my favorite video, just simply because of the face that Kevin makes. So if the folks that are in the comments, go out, look at LA Beast. He does a lot of food videos, does a lot of just cool videos in general. I absolutely love it. So go out, LA Beast, check him out. So shameless plug there. Back to the TV thing. I used to have a very cool TV stand that would auto magically drop down into it and completely disappear. Definitely not foldable. See, now I think that is cool. So maybe I don't care so much about the TV rolling. I care about the TV going away. But I can do that effectively with something at the end of the bed, like a dresser of some sorts or something that looks like a dresser. One CES was from a company named TCL. TCL, so full disclosure, TCL, if you're listening, which you're not, but if you are, I'd never heard of you. And the phones that you brought out are super cool. TCL is a Chinese brand that often like plays second or seventh fiddle to other bigger electronics like Xiaomi, Samsung, yada yada yada. I had never heard of them at all. And they came through CES like just like a house on fire. They showed off 3 different phones. One of them folds, and it looks great. Now, I'm not, as I just said, someone that is into foldable phones, but the phones that they described and the phones that they're showing are significantly less money than some of the flagships that are out there. And from what I'm gathering, if they come in, holy cow, Michael Daniels, brother, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Love you to death. You know that. I got to get back with your duo. I am so bad at duo. I am so sorry, brother. I will hit you back up. Faux show. Yes, thank you. Back Dan, yes, I never knew that they made that cool of stuff. They have, I guess, a really cool soundbar. Josh Smith from Gotta Be Mobile specifically mentioned that the soundbar sounds pretty decent. and it's at a really low cost compared to all of the other sound bars. I I really would love to get my hands on one of those phones and then test it against the Pixel 3a. I'm going to have a video coming out. I mean, at this point, I'm not sure when, in the next couple, Pixel 4, and that says a lot because I love my Pixel 4 XL. But the idea is a 3a from Google is fantastic, and it looks to me like TCL is coming kind of for that mid-market. They're getting in the right time. Their phones look absolutely gorgeous. I would love, love, love to kind of get my hand on one and kind of put it through the paces and really compare it not to a flagship because I don't think that's fair, but compare it to a 3A. So if any of the people that are out here on the live stream right now specifically is looking for a phone, just go out and get a Pixel 3A, 3A XL specifically, because that's what I believe. The battery life is bananas, absolutely crazy. Oh, the cameras are not going to be great on the TC. Okay, Dad, I love you if you're watching, but you can't send me a picture message because I don't think you know how. So the idea of you're going to take random pictures, it's just not something that you're going to do. Or the quality difference between what you would have there versus what you're getting in the 3A is not that big of a deal to you. So, yeah. 2 3As for my brother and a guy at work. 3A is a fantastic device. I love it. It's a great device. Yeah, it's just something that's that good. Sorry, my cotton mouth like crazy. Ah, the Google 4A, and I'm going to get off the CES stuff for a minute. Some of the rumors about the 4A, so I've heard two of them. I've heard several, but I've heard two of them really that kind of like one I love and one I'm like, oh. The one that I love is just the look of the 4, a fully loaded flagship, which is going to be significantly less cost. I would be willing to bet. And then it has like this a very small camera on the front. It's like a tear. I don't want to say teardrop, but like the punch hole up there at the corner. I think that design is cool, but I'm also a person that doesn't care at all about a notch. So I believe that that is super, super cool. But the thing that really bums me out the most is there's the rumor is that there's no XL version of the 4. I have big man meats like in my hands here. I have sausage fingers. And so the XL is just, I've had an XL Google device since the inception. So maybe the 4A is just the XL size. It's just not called that. That's my hope. But if it's anything like the 3A at all, man, Google's going to have just like a lock, like a death grip on that mid-market phone price, in my personal opinion, just because the 3A was a slam dunk. It is still a slam dunk for the cost because you get all of the goodies. On my Instagram.com, you've probably seen it scroll at the bottom. Instagram.com at the Scott Peachy on Instagram. I put a photo up that says, hey, I took this photo with a couple Google devices. Which one was it? One of them was a 4A XL, or 4A XL, yeah, right, a 4XL, and then one was a 3A XL. And the two guesses that you see out there got the 4XL right, but got the other one wrong. Just stunning photos that comes out of the 3A XL for a device that costs a fraction of some of the other ones. The battery life being bigger in the XL is a big bonus, yep. And the purplish color. Yeah, purple. I'm not a purple person. I really like the panda of all the devices. That's just me. So I talked about TCL, talked about Lenovo. What else do I got? Oh, probably the thing that I was the most excited about CES didn't actually get launched and talked about at CES. It is what Google had in the parking lot. So Google had their crazy fun house. They didn't quite build the whole amusement park thing they had last year, but they did have this crazy wild fun house, and they launched 6 different things, and I found 4 of the 6 things really, really interesting. So I will come back to the comments here just shortly. But the first thing that Google announced was 6 things around the Google Assistant and them, and I am excited to see how this is actually put into operation. But web page reading, meaning that you can ask the Google Assistant to read a long article for you, or any article for that matter. You can say, hey, keyword, read this page, whatever the page that you're on, and the assistant will fire up its network and actually go through and read in pretty lifelike reading the entire page. It's going to skip those things like, oh, tweets and this, that, and the other, the things that get in the way of the actual article. The network and the assistant is going to recognize what the text is, read just the article to you. It's going to have auto scrolling and highlighting the text as it goes through. I freaking love that. The idea is like, let's say that I'm stuck in traffic, or I really want to read this article, but I really have to get to work. Much like that of a podcast, I can say, hey, keyword, read this page to me, and she will read the page to me like the news or like the podcast or like the radio. Holy crap, I freaking love that. That is awesome. So that is coming to devices that have the Google Assistant, as far as I know. At least they announced it. If you get the Google Assistant, you're going to have the ability to have web page reading, and that is freaking dope. I am excited about. God, that was probably the biggest aha for me. That one was huge. But the next one's going to be scheduled actions. And one of the articles that was really surprised that they didn't have this before, and I guess I didn't think that this was a thing either, but you can have scheduled actions, meaning that you can, as soon as you make one-off requests, you want to happen later in the day, like, hey, keyword, turn off the lights at a certain time, it'll just do it for you. So it will basically set a reminder in the future. So you don't set a reminder, it sets the reminder for you by you telling it, hey, do a thing at 6 p.m. It's like having a child in your pocket. That could really be taken out of context. Yep. It's like telling a child now, but actually having them remember a thing to turn the lights off at 6 p.m. There's so much potential there. The assistant, the Google Assistant specifically, is so smart. In my personal opinion, it is hands down, bar none, better than Siri and Alexa combined. That's just my opinion. I am biased. I don't care. Dan, you're right. Siri has some kind of brain damage. Sometimes Siri gets things right, which is great. But if I ask a really complex question or a complex command, Siri's like, I don't know what to do. But Google's like, yeah, I got you, fam. No big deal. It's amazing. The third thing was sticky notes. So post-it notes, like you physically write post-it notes and you put it somewhere so someone will see it when they're walking in the door. Well, Google has this idea that they're just going to put it on their smart displays, which is saying, like, you can actually say, hey, keyword, leave a note that says, don't forget to do a thing, and it will pin that note to the lock screen, which everyone can see on maybe your Google Nest Hub or something like that, and bam, you can see, everybody can see all of that. I love the feature of moving music to different home devices. That's really cool. Full disclosure, I have never, ever tried that. I need to figure out, mostly right now, I just haven't thought about doing it, but I really need to do that. That is awesome. You can use Siri to access Google Assistant. Miss Kathleen, thank you so much. Just like, nah, Siri's not for me. But I know the Google Assistant, she's got me, or he, depending on the voice that you have. I'm just going to tell Siri to do the one thing I know she does right, which is give me another assistant to do a thing. I love it. That would be dangerous at my house, pinning notes for all to see. I can't wait for the time that the Google Assistant gives us the ability to pin notes for our friends. Like, if I have you in like a friends network and I want to pin something to your device, that's what I want to see. That would be fun. That would never go awry. Like, never ever. Huh. Okay. Okay, so there was that particular bit, and then the fourth thing that I thought was really interesting, and there was two others, but I'm not going to get into it. The fourth thing that I thought was super, that wasn't for you, and it basically wipes whatever the thing it was listening to from its command. I have read reports, I haven't really confirmed it, but I've read some rumors that effectively say you can actually say, hey, keyword, forget the last week or the last insert time frame of basically voice commands that you've given her, and she can just purge that from her system. No idea if that's actually something that's going to happen. I personally think that that's really cool. So we'll see if that's actually something that Google ends up doing. I can tell you right now that Amazon Alexa just doesn't do it. They keep everything. They, as far as I know, they record everything. And I don't know how you can purge it with Amazon. I know that Google's going to give you the ability to go in and you can actually tell the assistant to delete it here soon, or go in and listen to all of your commands, and then you can start to purge from there. Dan, much to your point, I think it's a great feature for privacy. Again, I go back to what we talked about in the beginning. Data privacy is going to be a huge deal in 2020, and I'm here for it. I am definitely here for it. So, ironically enough, that was everything that I had on my list that I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to come over here to the comments and scroll up a little bit. Let's see if I missed anything. So go all the way up. Talked about the video, amazing. Audio is a bit low. I will definitely rectify that in the future. Foldables, I agree, are the short term. Kev, LAB, stopped by to join us. Michael, thank you so much for that $50. That's incredible, dude. Thank you so much. I'm going to take the kids and get some pizza because we now have a family of 10. It's about $50 to get pizza for everybody. So let's see. Miss Sheila, I need to come down to Memphis. I was telling somebody the other day, I was talking to somebody here at work today, like they're in my studio, at work today, specifically about the water in Memphis, Tennessee is the best water I've ever tasted in my life. No question. It is the best water I've ever tasted in my life. So much so that Stat's parents bring it up from Memphis because we're both crazy. It is what it is. So, let's see, what else do we got? What do you see? Absolutely love the integrated Google Keep list. I keep going back and forth with Google Keep. I probably should use it a lot more than I do now. What do you make of the S10 Lite and the Note 10 Lite? I'm interested to see what Samsung does this year. I know that the Unpacked event is next month. I have heard that they're going to announce a Galaxy Fold 2, but not call it that. This goes back to that one little comment I made in the beginning that specifically talked about, sorry, my nose itches, Samsung's like head or CEO or one of them, somebody way up there, released a statement that said, we sold 1 million Galaxy Folds, which I'll be honest, I didn't expect them to sell way less than half of that. And then it comes to find out that a few weeks passed and it was like, yeah, so that million that we talked about, I did a calculation wrong, and it comes to find out it was between 400 and 500,000 units. So that is a huge discrepancy in data, and I'm not sure how you mess up something that big when you're like the head of Samsung. You look kind of like a fool. I'm just going to throw it out there. But again, with that out of the way, they've talked about specifically a release of a foldable device. So rather than it folding like this that you see of the Galaxy Fold, it's going to fold up much like you would like a regular clamshell phone, that of like the Razr 2. So it's going to fold, I guess, north-south, not east-west, if that's the way that I'm thinking about it. I could see how the north-south version, or the, I guess, up and down rather than, so no, that's still hamburger, that's not gonna work. So up and down rather than left and right, how that particular version would sell better, because nothing was more satisfying than to hang up on somebody than to be like, I can't believe this, poof, and you close it like that. That's really satisfying. Or like, poof, that was amazing. But That could possibly be one of the reasons, but also you can just kind of like flip it open with your thumb. Like way back in the day when you had a regular razor, you could like slide your thumb into one side and like, what up? Yeah, what's up, dog? Yeah, one of those things. I could see how that's much more aesthetically pleasing or even more satisfying to have rather than kind of the one that folds open like a book. That's just my personal opinion. So, um, $9.99 is aggressive too if the pricing is to believe. That is really aggressive on terms of the price. I'm surprised um, North South would be like Kirk from Star Trek. Fair, fair. $9.99 on the price too. I don't think $9.99 is really that bad of a price for a foldable device. That's really where you get into that. Um, that's really where you get into that like mode where somebody's like, okay, I could see getting involved in a foldable device. I have a 15-day return window with Verizon. I'll give it a shot and see what it is. I guess I could probably do that now, but I don't know. Less than $1,000 is really where you. That's where you can kind of win some way more people over. Maybe actually sell 1,000,000 units and not lie about it this time. Miss Sheila, thank you very much. I appreciate those comments. I'm hoping to do this every week. I guess this is really where I want to like pause and ask folks that are still here, that are still listening, is this something that folks would like to see every week that we had before? Like, I moved it to Wednesdays mostly because it's like my son and I Boy Scouts on Tuesdays, and my wife and my daughter have Girl Scouts on Thursdays. So Wednesdays is a real prime day for things like this. It's a little bit different, to be completely honest. Thursdays was kind of Greg and I's thing, so I really would like to keep it Wednesdays, something that's a little bit different, but something that's still the same. So let me know what you think. I love the idea of being back in front of everybody and seeing everybody. I love this, reading the comments. Y'all, I missed you. I missed you, and I need to put WD-40 on the seat. This isn't working for me. Every week, I 100% would love to do it again. I'm going to make the show super interesting. I got crazy ideas for this. I'm going to Skype people in like we kind of did before. I want to bring on other creators that we talked about. I've made a ton of great contacts out there. So yeah, I would love to do this every single week. If y'all will have me, I would love to do it. This would be tons of fun. Let's see what we can do with this live show. I'm still going to put out regular content that you guys have seen me put out. Maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say vlogish because I always say that and then I never do it. But maybe a little bit less on the B-roll and more like right in front of it, maybe more commentary type stuff. Because there's some thoughts that I've wanted to get out there, like the foldable phones is one that I think would be interesting to get out there. But honestly, and obviously you can pick up what I'm putting down, in a house with, in a house with 7 kids, time is at a premium. So if I can start to continue to make content, if I can make a live show every Wednesdays, look, if this is what the channel becomes, so be it. I don't care. I have a ton of fun. I love you all so much for this. This is fantastic. Okay, so it seems to be a rousing thing, a rousing success that I'm good with this. Michael, you're right. I think we can do crossover shows as well. We have a lot of opportunity here. Let's definitely talk about it. Dan, I'm Wednesday nights, baby. I'm your Wednesday nights. Hugs and kisses. Hugs and kisses. I'm still crazy. I'll still be loud. I'll probably break out into song every once in a while, but I gotta get back into that flow. I'm not used to just having me stare at the camera for an hour at a time, so I keep looking around and stuff. So I gotta get back and used to that. Mr. E. Root, of course, so the student will become a teacher. That's how this works, and I fully intend for you to be that way. So we're running at 57 minutes. I promised I would keep it at about an hour. I will definitely soap us up. Yeah, you know it. Sudsy. Right, Sudsy, right on the back for you. You know that. So I'll keep it right at an hour. I think right at an hour is probably going to be pretty good. And plus, I got cotton mouth like crazy. Oh, Lord, I got to get my chops back. So as always, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, comment. Wait, you already did that. Next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully I won't have any technical difficulties. Boy, you should have seen what I was dealing with before this show went live. Hoo, hoo, hoo. I am really glad that I worked on show notes a couple days ago because that would have been interesting for a first show back. So, yeah, buddy, that would have been fun. So, all right, you all, thank you so much for joining. Check my socials at Scott Peachy on the Twitter machine and at the Scott Peachy on Instagram. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.